My guest this week is Suzi Quatro. Welcome back to Planet Rock.
It's nice to be back. How are you?
I'm all right. In vastly different circumstances to when you were last here, when we were talking about what was then your latest album, No Control, and the world has drastically changed since then.
Well, we had a life back then.
I know. Because I remember when you came in, you were just wrapping up No Control. I remember you were talking about putting new songs together, which would be the songs that feature on The Devil in Me. And then within 3 months, the world changed. So how far did you get into the new album before everything unraveled for everyone?
Well, I'm always writing, so any editing, even when I finish one project, I never stop my ideas. But it was 2019 was a really high year for me, really high. I had No Control come out to great worldwide critical acclaim. My documentary, Suzi Quatro, came out. That sat at the top of the Amazon and Apple charts. Unbelievable. 2020 was going to be even bigger. Yeah. And my son was on the road with Biba Doobie, because he works with them. And I was on the road with 95 shows in the book. And then, bang! Lockdown happened. And so I said to my son, okay, we're both grounded. And my son said he wanted this album to be as groundbreaking and as important as my first album. But I will say with this one, my son was Mr. Vibe King, and and he got his confidence on the last album, unfortunately. And he said, if it doesn't vibe, it's not going on. And he really had blinders on this.
Yeah.
He wouldn't sway either way. And now the reviews I'm getting are just unbelievable. Everybody said I blew No Control out of the water, and they're all commenting and saying exactly the things that Richard was saying while we were making it. So I guess, even though I should ground him really, I guess I should start really trusting him. He's 36 years old. He's brought this whole new energy. He's made me rediscover me, if that makes sense.
Yeah. How does it work, though? Because it's a weird dynamic, because your mum, you're the boss, ultimately. But if he's producing or sort of taking the lead on the creative side of things, production or songwriting, in many ways, he's the boss. So how do you coexist?
Well, it's my album at the end of the day, and we're both always aware of that. It's my album, so obviously what I want goes. But what he's kind of come out very strong, and which I didn't know he had in him, is the actual direction. And he keeps saying, you got to remember, Richard watched me on stage since as far back as he can remember. Yeah. So that has soaked into his DNA. But what comes with that is his 36 years of age and the next generation of music.
We're going to go right back to the beginning, and we're going to talk about the early days right through, sort of bookending up to the brand new album. You've chosen a track from Elvis, which was, well, this is a great track, but I mean, he was a groundbreaker for so many artists. You've gone with Don't Be Cruel. Why this one?
Oh, God, that's easy. It's my earliest light bulb moment of my life. I was 5.5 years old, watching the Ed Sullivan Show, very popular variety show in America. And I was 5.5. One of my sisters, the eldest one of the family, was 9 years older. So she was just the right age, 14, 15, screaming. She was screaming. And I looked at her, because I'm only a little girl, and I thought, what's the matter with you? Why are you screaming? And then I looked at the camera, and a little light bulb came on my head. I'm going to do that.
So Elvis was a big influence. Was it just the music, or was it more the imagery and the way he got a reaction by moving, what he was wearing, the way he looked?
It was the entire package. I felt a real affinity with every single part of him.
You're a force in your own right. I mean, 1975, Your Mama Won't Like Me came out. Was that a statement because you knew you were kind of rebellious and different, and maybe mamas wouldn't like you?
Well, yeah, I am rebellious, and I don't even do gender, but that one was, I thought that was a really cute way to say your mama won't like me. I used to announce that on stage and say, your mom won't like me, but your papa will. But actually, I had so many female fans, you know what I mean? It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it was a comment on my I'm kind of androgynous. I see myself as androgynous. I don't really do gender.
No, I was going to say you were saying that last time, and one of the things that is really endearing about you, and you've said this to me, and you've said it in numerous interviews, is that even though people have looked to you as iconic and groundbreaking, you never set out to be that way, and you were never saying, "Well, this is different. I want to be a forerunner." It was all very organic with you. You never seemed to conform. At what point did you realise? Maybe it was the 70s or the 80s. I don't know. Did you stop and go, "Actually, yeah, I am having a positive influence on men and women"?
I didn't actually realize that properly until I watched my documentary Suzi Quatro, my first London premiere, which was a year ago now. It was right at the end of 2019. The documentary came out. I was watching, and as I watched all these women coming on, from Debbie Harry to Joan Jett to Kathy Valentine to Tequila Mockingbird to Donita Sparks, I mean, Chrissy Hynde, everybody. I'm watching them come on and say, how I changed their life. And I just went, what? I was 69 years old. I went, are you kidding me? I was amazed. And I called my good friend, Cherie Curry, who's at the end of the documentary. And she's all through it. And I called her the next day and I said, Cherie, I said, well, I just realized something, that me doing what I did gave permission for all the women in the world to be different. And she said to me, and you just got that? Which is a great line, and you just got that. Yes. But isn't that refreshing that I didn't have any ulterior motive? You know, I just was doing what I was doing, sticking to me. And in doing so, look what I did. I'll take that to my grave.
Do you think if you'd have known at the time, you'd have taken a slightly different path? Would you have been more forward about it, maybe more aggressive, or you've done everything exactly the same?
Well, I think if I had known what I was doing, if I'd been aware of it, it wouldn't have happened at all. I think the whole reason that it fell on my shoulders to be the first one, the first girl, has to be said, even though I don't do gender, playing rock in a rock and roll band, leading the band with a bass guitar. I think that had to fall on somebody like me who didn't even know she was doing it. It would not have worked. It would have been manufactured. You know, and the fact that I'm still wearing the same suit, playing the same instrument, still doing the same music, shows you that whatever I am is organic and real. And that's the only way it could have worked.
You've chosen a song from one of the godfathers of rock and roll, Chuck Berry, who once says, it was an awards ceremony I saw him at, must have been about 15, 20 years ago, and he'd been given another Lifetime Achievement Award. And he just said, tongue-in-cheek, without me, none of you would be here tonight. And I thought, yeah, no one can argue with that.
Are you kidding? I mean, I did a charity show in Michigan a couple years ago now, and it was for the Dick Wagner. And that was my opening thing. I said, we're going to do a Chuck Berry song, because without him, none of us would be here. I didn't even know he said that. I said, none of us would be here. I end my show every night with Sweet Little Rock and Roll. I have done for 35, 40 years now.
Now, I know you say you don't see gender, and that, of course, is the way we should all be. But you're from a generation where, rightly or wrongly, there was a lot more sexism in the 70s and the 80s. There was almost like, oh, look, a little girl playing guitar and singing. How did you successfully navigate those scenarios without wanting to kill or punch everyone in sight?
Well, I've got the quickest knee in show business, but other than that, I firmly believe that what you put out is what you get back. So I am a serious musician. I never call myself a girl musician, never have. I'm a musician. I'm a bass player. I put out that self-belief, that confidence, and it's like, you got a problem? And I've never had to deal with it. I can be one of the guys, I can be one of the guys, I can tell the jokes and stand in the bar and do the music talk and this and this and this, but I do keep my little female card in my back pocket. And when needed, like a penalty in a football match, out it comes. Out it comes, closely followed by the knee.
The knee.
Actually, I have a very quick mouth, I have to say. Oh yeah, and that's done me good my entire life. And I try to teach other girls just starting out in the business that don't lose your femininity. Just keep it. I always say this, it's a famous quote of mine. Women have balls, but they keep them in their head where they can't get kicked.
That's very good. It's
a Suzi line. If you use it, you have to quote me.
or pay you, or both. You famously had a shoot with a former guest on this show. I spoke to him late last year, Gerard Mankiewicz.
Yes, he's my good friend, yes.
Yeah. He talked very fondly of you in the photo shoots with the jumpsuit.
I know. And he said to me, that's so funny, there was a moment when I had my first jumpsuit on, and we'd taken my first session. I got my way with Mickey Mouse. I wanted to wear leather, like Elvis, and Mickey didn't like it, but he gave me my way, and he said, what about a jumpsuit? I said, good idea. And stupidly didn't realize it was a sexy image, just thought it was a logical thing to wear because I jump around so much. And everything stays in place. You see how naive I am. And I know, it's ridiculous. And Gerard was behind the camera, that iconic image that you've seen everywhere. And I remember him saying to me, okay, I want that Suzi Quatro look. And up until that point, I didn't know I had one. And all of a sudden I did. And it was a magical moment in my life. I turned to put my hands on my hip, and bang, there it was.
You've also chosen one of the most famous covers, and I love this. In fact, I love this cover more than the original. Joe Cocker's with a little help from my friends. I mean, I just love the whole gospel take on it. It's just a stunning track. Why have you gone with this one?
Well, Joe Cocker, he's one of my very, very favorite artists of all time. And in fact, the album Mad Dogs and Englishmen, just brilliant. I saw him live in Detroit, and I didn't know anything about him. I was standing backstage. And out comes this guy, and he blew me away.
I mean, you've been prolific pretty much all through your career. The 80s, you were releasing that's probably about as quiet as you got from an album release schedule. Were you parenting? Were you just doing other stuff?
I did sort of have a little bit of a break. I got pregnant in 82, pregnant in 84. So you can't actually go on the road during that time. I released an album called Main Attraction while I was pregnant with Laura, my first one. Then as soon as she was like 4 or 5 months old, we were on the road working. And then 84, I got pregnant with Richard, so I didn't go on the road. Then 85, we were back on the road. I'm trying to remember when the next album was released. There was a little bit of a space, and we were working, but I was also branching out. I was doing musicals. I did Annie Get Your Gun. I was branching out. And then I got divorced in 91. And then I went boom, straight back into my music. And then I think the next big album was Back to the Drive, which was produced by Andy Scott. And then I was back in business. Then I was writing nonstop again. So there were a couple, maybe 10 years of stretching my wings, having the 2 kids, marriage going down the drain. But I was always working. I just wasn't releasing as much, but constantly touring all the time. I never stopped touring, only last year, and that wasn't my fault.
No, in fairness, no, it wasn't. So did you always just almost have an idea in your head and you kind of ran with it as it happened, be it a musical, TV? Did you have to plan ahead, or were you kind of impulsive, right, I'm going to do that now, then I'm going to switch to something else? How did it work in Suzi Q's mind through the decades?
Well, I have always been the kind of artist, I've said it in Suzi Q as well, I won't be boxed in. I will not be boxed in. I am an artiste. And I want to have the freedom to express myself in this business however I can. And I wanted to do music as always. I wanted to do acting. I did. I was in Happy Days for 3 seasons. I did Minder. I did Dempsey and Makepeace. I'm an author. I've got 4 books published. I don't want to be boxed in. I like to do whatever this profession as an entertainer and an artist allows me to do. And when something comes along, if I like it, then I do it. When they offered me Annie Get Your Gun, I said, you'd be stupid to turn that down. What a great show. When they asked me if I wanted to do Happy Days in 77, I flew over from Japan, went to the audition, got it, and it turned into 3 seasons. So, I always wanted to act because I knew I could. I love musicals. I love being an author. I love writing songs. I love playing on stage. I'm an artiste.
Of course, you're in Dempsey and Makepeace. Cool. I had the biggest crush on Glennis Barber when I was a kid. Oh.
They killed me on Dempsey and Makepeace, and they killed me on Midsummer Murders. I'm not sure what they're trying to tell me. Would you be in my show? We need to kill somebody. Oh, thanks. Okay. Not everybody can say they died on stage like I have.
We'll start getting up to date after this from Brownsville Station. See, I grew up with the Motley Crue version. And I always knew it was a cover, but I didn't hear the original until I was weirdly in my 20s, but Brownsville Station, Smoking in the Boys' Room. It's a great track.
Well, it's by Brownsville Station. They're friends of mine. Cubby Code has now passed away. Just great track, great band. They were a great band, and I got a little picture of him upstairs. He sent me a picture of me after I left Detroit, because he had a big crush, little crush, and he sent me this, "Oh, when you're going to come back, my tiny toe-tapping bundle of lust," and blah, blah. And I have it framed upstairs, bless him. But it's a great track.
Yeah, the royalties from Motley Crue's cover of this won't have done your friends any harm.
Yeah, they would have got money from that, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So here we are in a kind of a new world, and as you're older, obviously, we all are, do you think less or more about yourself? I mean, you've always said, "I've just done it my way," and weren't really aware. Now you're more aware of the positive effect you've had on your contemporaries, your peers. Do you think more about what you're doing?
At the grand old age of 70 now, but I'm sure they got the date wrong on my birth certificate. I don't actually care about the age, and I actually have always announced how old I am at every single show, because I'm quite proud of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm Dr. Quatro. Did you know that?
No? Did you get an honorary doctorate?
Honorary Doctor of Music. 2017, I received it at Cambridge University in a cap and gown. And am I proud? You better believe it. I didn't even graduate high school.
Wow, Dr. Quatro, that's got a ring to it.
Oh, it does.
I know you've lived over here for, it must be 40 plus years. Did you always plan on essentially setting up shop here forever?
No, these things just happen. I got discovered by Mickey Most, and it was the same week that Elektra Records saw the band I was in. They didn't want the band. They offered me a solo contract. They wanted to take me to New York and make me into the next Janis Joplin. Mickey Most came in the same week to go to Motown with Jeff Beck and Cozy Powell. He saw the band, didn't want the band, offered me a solo contract, and he said, "Come to England, and I'll make you into the first Suzi Quatro." So guess where I went?
And now we got to get rid of you.
I know. It just happened that way. I guess I kind of put down roots. My ex-husband, he was in my band, and, one thing led to another. And so I ended up staying. But, I went back all the time. I toured there a lot, but I ended up living here since 1971.
And you've kept your accent.
I wanted to keep my accent. I did not want to lose it. I am not a quasi-British. I am American living in England. And I'm the girl from Detroit City, and I don't ever want to lose that.
Speaking of Detroit, Alice Cooper's always said nice things about you, because you opened for him in the States back in the 70s, is that right?
Yeah, 75. I did one long tour with him. Yeah, we've known each other since 1967, 68. We're very good friends. We have a lot of affection between each other. I love the man, We're very close. We always have been.
And I know probably you're not fussed about awards, but you think you should forget all the other awards and halls of fame. You'd be like the Detroit Hall of Fame. He thinks you should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And
yeah, everybody says that. I'm actually getting bored with it now, because it's okay. I'll say it real simple. To me, it's a no-brainer, and that's what everybody says. And it's just kind of stupid of an organization that prides themselves on doing things correctly to not honor me, who was the first. So it doesn't make any sense to me. If they fix it, they fix it. I know a lot of people want me to have it, like people like Alice. Every time I do something in America, Australia, wherever, why aren't you in there? I don't know. I got awards coming out my backside, but I think Tina Turner just went in this year. So I'm actually in probably better company not being in it.
you
And you can quote me on that too. That is funny.
We'll get smack bang up to date and look to the future after Tom Petty. Now, I never had the pleasure of seeing him live, and he died just before I was hoping to see him. He like Bruce Springsteen, who was another artist you chose a song from. They just wrote really relatable songs for the everyman and woman. Everything just always seems so relatable. Breakdown you've gone with. Why this one?
Well, I recorded that on my If You Knew Suzi album, by the way. I saw Tom Petty just before he was breaking big, so right on the edge they were, little buzz was going around. We went to the Whiskey A Go-Go. He was on live on the stage, and I remember turning to my ex-husband at the time, now, because we were together then, and I said, now that's a rock and roll band. I liked everything about them. They had attitude, they had the swagger. I liked it that he had the Dylan-ness in his voice, you know, because he's a big Dylan fan, and so am I. They were a good band. They played off each other. I liked them a lot, and I love this song.
So I've noticed that you've said, with regards to the new album, The Devil in Me, which is out on the 26th of March, it's your best album to date. Dare I accuse you of saying what every artist says just before they bring out a new album?
You don't, because I've never said it before.
Okay.
I don't even have to say it, because every single reviewer, they're all saying to me, "This is your finest work," and I go, "Good. I'm glad you're saying it for me." It's been getting our feet wet with No Control, finding out where we both stand, and then doing this wonderful up to date Suzi Quatro as if she just began, but with my life in there too. So you've got that freshness sound, you know, of the 36-year-old son coming into it, and you've got the life that I have lived, and it's just marvelous. I have to say, I'm so proud of this album. I mean, we're writing for the next one now, and I don't know how we're going to better it.
How do you better it? How do you stay motivated to better it?
Oh, I'm totally motivated. Totally motivated. All I have to do is just keep exploring the different edges of my psyche. And I'm a Gemini. We're like an onion. You keep peeling and there's still more.
So what's the loose plan? I mean, dare we have plans for 2021 or 2022? Are you planning to do anything with the album? Or are you almost going to put it to bed and then maybe tour the next one? What's the plan?
I don't know. I mean, we have to wait till the gigs start again. I mean, you know, nobody can do anything until they start. I will put some songs in immediately once the gigs start. When, I don't know. My diary is full for May, but I don't know if those are going to happen. I really don't know. The one that is important is April 20th, 2022. I'm playing the Royal Albert Hall. The Queen of Rock and Roll is playing the Royal Albert Hall. And
royalty.
I love saying that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm doing the wave as we speak. So, you know, I'm just waiting to see when we can go back on the road. Fingers crossed, you know. Nobody has that answer, and I don't want to try to give it now. But when the gigs are ready to start, I've got my bag packed. My bowling bag is in the hallway. My bass is in tune. My suit's hanging on the hanger there. I'm ready to go.
Well, we'll finish with the opening track from the album. You've managed to do a video for it as well. I take it you managed to do it in lockdown.
We did. We used my garage, and the director built a little set, and obviously each one of us went in separately. So it was perfectly allowed, you know, and then he put it all together. But brilliant video. People, it's huge clicks on it on the internet, so everybody's loving it. It's really kind of, there's a lot of classic Suzi in that video, so I would recommend watch the video. And it's inspired by my mother. Shall I introduce it like the DJ that I am? Okay.
Go for it.
Here we go. Hi, this is Suzi Quatro. I want you to enjoy the title track from my new album, The Devil in Me.